Hello, this is professional dog trainer Brent Endies, dogtrainingla.com. So I want to talk today more, as I do often, about mindsets when it comes to training dogs and what kind of mindset is going to foster growth, foster improvement, foster rehabilitation, foster goals being met. Because I know the mindset that doesn't, and it's something that I come across often enough to talk about it and point it out. Unfortunately, when you're in it with these people, it doesn't really go too well because they tend to have the way it is. A lot of false dog experts, a lot of people that they have a toe in the water in the dog training world. I've had dogs my whole life. I rescue, I breed, but they're not in the trenches, really rehabilitating dogs, taking dogs that we're gonna get put to sleep, no one else can help, and you help them. So that's where my confidence and all my information and my insight comes from. It's not opinion, it's not how I feel about it. That I put on the back burner 20 plus years ago when I was a younger trainer, and my ego would get in the way of my ability because I was just a green idiot. Unfortunately, most people do not get past the green idiot phase because they don't put in the time, take the risks, have enough hours in front of dogs' owners in applied settings to really understand what's going on here, both ends of the leash. So the mindset. A lot of times there's this excuse making, this asterisk, and when I say asterisk, it means an exception to why this is allowed, permitted, or why I'm doing this, versus what someone like me would say, well, we're still not being consistent. One of them is well, you're letting your dog pull on a leash. Well, he's just excited. She just needs to go to the bathroom. It's but you're still letting your dog pull on the leash. And dogs only learn what their experience is. So if you disallow that, they will one day never pull on the leash, and now we have a problem resolved. But if we're working on a problem, let's say leash pulling or related issues like reactivity, lunging, when the leash comes off, the dog just takes off because there's no connection even at close range through the equipment. That to me is, again, I don't take that mindset. I don't allow my clients to take that mindset. And that's why we foster growth and rehabilitation in our cases. People who make an excuse or tell you why they had a bad day, or why I couldn't do this, or why I couldn't do this week when you came back, they will never, ever, sorry about that. They will never, ever be able to get through the issues they want, or even have some real life applied obedience abilities in their dogs, because of that lack of consistency due to the excuses made, or the lack of effort, or the willingness to make the effort and think a certain way. Of course, it's comfortable to take the path of least resistance, right? It's always, I'm driving on a freeway, we're going through a canyon, we're not going up and over the hill. They found when they made this road, right? I get it, but that's not how dog training is. That's not what growth is. That's not what rehabilitation is. It's getting in there. It's really rewiring. And when you have to rewire, you better make those circuits connect properly so that when you're ready to turn on your system in the future, it runs properly. And that's just rewiring dogs' associations, tapping into their instincts, to have someone who cares more about the outcome of their dogs doing better than the dogs care about overreacting to something that in many cases they feel is life or death. I wouldn't have a job if there weren't a lot of dogs that live an amazing life that at many times an element shared with their owner cannot see it that way. They see it as, it's over, Johnny, and you're not intervening in a way that's consistent, clear, or even out of your own humanness to help me in any way, shape, or form. And that's fine. That's my job, is to educate and help, just like I'm doing in this video. But when I try to present that as the obvious expert, I'm not just someone who just walked up to a person walking their dog in the street and saying, hey, take my word for it. Anyone I'm in front of, they've seen, they know what I do. I'm in a position, they've looked me up, they hired me. But I still find, even today I was working with a rescue, and I find that when I'm just trying to say, hey, this is what I'm seeing, and if you want this dog to be more adoptable and not have leash pulling issues, but the dog just was excited, or we just need to do this. It's always that. It's never insight. Maybe I should hear what you're saying, not because you want to be right, but because you have the experience to point this out, and your track record is going to help me with something that maybe I am working on or struggling with in the dog, and I'm not getting so far because I won't want to say it's me, but it's always the human end of the leash. And I'm saying, I'm speaking to the person. Most people are too ego-driven to even admit that maybe their thinking is completely flawed. Because it is. It's not just that thing. It's actually, this is the mindset of so many people, that it's all about the excusing and the sympathy and the poor, and I'll overprotect the weak, instead of like, let's build the weak up. Let's make them deal with shit they never dealt before, so they don't need a handhold all the time in the future, so they don't become a burden to others. Dogs love it. That's what a pack order is. That's what hierarchy is based on. And it's not about being mean. It's actually about creating security in all parties involved, from the top to the bottom, because they're all in their proper positions and status and knowing. And again, this is something people have such a difficult time with when it comes to the dogs. I have a call coming in, so thank you for listening. Subscribe, rate, dogtrainingla.com, and thank you. Have a great day.